earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, aye, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, aye, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return.
Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath us, soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, guide us to our heart. Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath us, soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, guide us to our heart. Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath us, soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, guide us to our heart. Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath us, soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, guide us to our heart. Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath us, soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, guide us to our heart. Mother of darkness, mother of light, earth beneath us, soul in flight, songs of love and love of life, guide us to our heart. Mother of darkness, mother of light, to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean.
Hi, folks. All right. Welcome back. Open Pagan Church. Yeah. Well, we got an interesting topic for you today, and it reads, does faith play a role in fact? Well, we're going to break that down for you. We're going to talk about it right here on Open Pagan Church, right after a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. Hey folks, alright, our sponsor is a PS4 format Conan Exiles server called XN. Yep, XN server. They've redone their server, and here are the new stats, so pay attention. Almost official stats: 4x harvest and XP rates, 0.8 in your crafting and thrall conversion, official days and nights, admin, map rooms, steel starter tools at Welcome Center, no gods allowed, LOL, random admin events, including raid bases and kill boxes, active admin, contact through PSN at Mystic Fae on Discord, and I'll let you read out that Discord address. Please be sure and check them out. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.
Hello.
Good morning.
Buenos dias. It means good morning. How the heck are ya?
Lol?
What you got on, you mind?
Oh, Lord.
Throw that back.
Hang on. No, go ahead.
I'll be there in a minute.
Is it my damn microphone was muted? Okay. Well,
Lol.
let's start over, shall we? Does faith play a role in fact? That's what happens when you get a live feed and you can't go back and edit stupid stuff out. um, there's documented history all the way back since the beginning of time. Number one, we know history comes from his story, right? And it, come on, the winner of the battle tells the tale. And one of the things we find, most especially in 2021, even still in 2021, fascinates the hell out of me, is that people are still intermingling supposed fact upon the telling according to what religion they follow. What do y'all think?
Alright, well, one thing you need to know is back when they started recording, faith was the driving force of life.
Okay.
So basically everything written was written from and for a faith-based perspective.
Okay.
That's why, like we were saying earlier, a certain religious sect will not release ancient artifacts because of what is written.
Okay, right, yeah.
So, prehistory, faith and fact went hand in hand. As you go through time, man became thinkers, and faith and fact started to separate, such as the mysterious and science. They started to go their separate ways.
Right.
So,
I believe that when history started was when man discovered fire and how to make it.
well, the history is history. You know, it's whatever happened in the past is history. All we know of history is what has actually been recorded or handed down through lore. Correct?
Right.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. I mean,
Well, hence
we were around even before fire.
the bards, right?
Right.
The bards would travel the countryside and they would sing the history of the things that they had perceived in their witness, and that statement right there speaks volumes, because we know, or we should know, that fact, yeah, right, Well, there's three sides to every story. There's one person's side, there's the other person's side,
And then there's the truth.
and then there is the truth. Well, I've always said it's like the three sides of a coin. And I love people that say coins don't have three sides. Well, yeah, yes, they do.
You've got the head, you've got the tail, and then you've got the outsider's perspective.
You have the ridge, yes. And there are, not all coins will stand on the ridge. Hence why not all truths stand on its own.
Right.
Truth is about 99% perception. When you consider, and way back when I was doing private investigation and a few other things that we won't talk about, one of the things that we had to learn was that we had to be able to step into a room and step out of that room and write down or say what we saw. Out of 10 people, all 10 people only saw about 1% of the same thing. Everything else was due to perception.
I guess that would make me a really, really good crime scene investigator because I see everything for what it is.
Well, we like to think we do.
Right. The thing is not seen for what it is. You have to see the thing.
And once we realize that our perception plays a very big role in what we call fact or truth, then we can step back outside of ourselves and take a look at the situation. What we used to say, stand back and take a look at the situation with new eyes, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's wrong, right? It just simply means that we need to realize our perception that really does play a part in what we perceive as fact. And one of the things I noticed back in the mid to late 90s when I started stepping away from mainstream religion and started really looking at other religions around the world, I found it rather interesting that the tales of the past, every society has a tale really close to that one. If you research child born of a virgin, you will find that there are quite a few societies that predate mainstream religion by a couple of thousand years that had tales of a child born to a virgin. So what we find ourselves rolled up in is the idea that faith really does play a big role in fact. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask everyone, have you noticed a change in your perception of fact, or a change in your perception of reality as you changed your perception of your own faith. Does that question make any sense?
Say that.
Say what?
Apologies for that. I was sneezing too much.
Oh, it's all right. Have you noticed a change in your perception of fact as your faith and religiosity changed over the years? Have you noticed a difference in your perception of fact as your religion has changed?
Yes. As my religion has grown, in other words, my faith, I've learned more from my faith path. I've noticed I'm more tolerant or more perception of is this fact or is this real or is this BS going on? That is what you're talking about?
Okay. Well, we know that all religions the planet over are myths. Okay?
This is why they call it mythology.
Right. But, and we did a video some time ago that is, well, yeah. Go ahead.
Faith is not something you can actually see. Faith is something that is believed in strongly enough to manifest.
Yeah. So, if we figure how much faith plays a role in fact, or how much religion plays a role in fact, why bother with religion? Playing the devil's advocate here just a little bit. And of course, pagans don't believe in the devil, so there you go. If indeed we find ourselves more open-minded, if we hold more to the science of history than we do to the religion of history, why have faith in the first place?
Because humans see something to believe in that is greater than themselves.
Yay, absolutely.
Good thing I'm not a human.
All right, Sab. I'll bite. What are you?
I'm dragon.
Oh, you're dragon. Okay, got it.
Amen, amen, sister.
I am the original Chaos Dragon. If you know anything about me, you know my life reigns with chaos.
Yep, I believe that.
Bless your heart.
Two fries on it, Don.
Oh, I'm not one to judge. I may get a bit of a giggle, but I'm not one to judge. So, I know for me personally, my faith has given me a foundation in which to research more, to learn more, and if we think about the ancestors when mainstream religion was really trying to take hold, human beings are very easily turned into sheep. Sheep, yeah. And because most human beings want it fed to them on a platter, and they want to be fed, they don't want to have to go out and get their own food. So they're going to believe whatever their spiritual leader tells them. If the spiritual leader is strong enough personality to do that? Well, one of the interesting things about paganism is, for the most part, paganism says go out and find out. Research, learn. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take somebody else's word for it. Open Pagan Church is here to give you ideas, to twig your brain and make you think and go, oh, okay, I need to learn more about that. And me personally, I like it when people send me a message going, you talked about this, that, and the other thing, and I found this, this, and this. What do you think? And then we start a dialogue. And we start a conversation. And we all learn. Hell, I learn something new every day. I may not like what I learn, but nonetheless, I still learn. But I also find that when I'm watching documentaries, I'm watching history programs, or I'm researching something for a topic, I have to periodically remind myself that just because I don't necessarily agree with it doesn't mean that it's wrong. So when we take a look at how much faith controls our own factual interpretation, then we can find ourselves open to more of what's going on.
Right.
So a question is, through your studies of your own faith, no matter what religion it is, no matter what path it is, through your studies of your own faith, have you noticed yourself, and if so, what? Now, this is kind of the same question I asked a while ago, but I'm looking for a different answer. What are some of the things that you have learned that you thought you knew that you have suddenly found out aren't necessarily true? Anybody want to jump on that one?
Lester.
I was distracted. What was the question?
I'm trying to regress from the original title from the church subject, didn't we?
Well, not really. What the question that I'm trying to get people to answer is, we know faith plays a role in fact. So what lessons have you guys learned as you've grown in your own faith that you may find is not actually the fact that you were taught when you were younger, but it might have a much deeper meaning, or it was absolutely totally screwed up to begin with? In other words, what facts were you taught by the religions that you were raised with that as you grew in your own faith, you found that that wasn't necessarily the case?
The religion I grew up in.
Oh, that's just an understatement. I mean.
Alright, look. I grew up with a non-denominational Christian mother and an atheist father. So, me being pagan kind of makes sense for me to round out the triangle there. But growing up, going to church with my mama every Sunday, and believing that there is something somewhere that is governing our lives, whether it be destiny, whether it be fates, whether it be monotheism, whether it be polytheism. It's you have to have, you know, faith as a basis for everything that you do, because your faith in a governing body. You get what I'm saying?
Don't we have the government for that?
We won't get into that one.
No, we're not going to get into that one.
Well,
If you're waiting on faith with the government, your fact is you're going to be waiting a long time.
true.
But like you said, on our faith base, in here most of us are faith based, that we not rely on it. We live it every day, and it's strong in us. And to me, with our faith and the Celtic way, you can ask your deities. You ask, "Hey, is this real?" Because you want to have verification of the fact.
So you're saying then, if I'm hearing you correctly, I don't want to put words in your mouth,
Go ahead.
that if you reverse the words, okay, and you put it through your faith, you've learned to research more fact.
Correct.
Okay?
But
My-
what if someone doesn't have faith?
Well, there's no difference. Having worked with and working with quite a few atheists, if you listen to many of your atheist followers speak, they got wrapped up in history, research, the mythology of all religions, to the point where they catered to the philosophy of, if religion is myth anyway, why bother?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Atheists themselves believe that when you die, you're done, your body rots, that's it. There's no reincarnation, there's no God, there's no goddess, there's no pantheon.
Faith itself.
Right. And if you think about it logically, all right? If you take a look at faith logically, faith itself is illogical. Faith itself is so down to perception, ideology, that if you're not careful, then you can wind yourself up right straight down a rabbit hole. Debbie says, I don't research, I just go on about my day-to-day, confused by people in general, as nothing they seem to profess to is something they actually do. She goes on to say they never met my parents. Well, yeah, Debbie's parents were absolutely wonderful people. So, but at the same point, I'm always very pleased when I meet someone of other religions, whether it's Christianity, um, whether it's pagan, Jewish, Muslim, whatever, and their mind is open to conversation and research. And they fully admit that their faith has conducted their fact or their perception of fact ever since they started following their specific religion.
Right.
And for myself, I always found that once I dedicated to paganism and I found my path as a shaman within paganism, that for me personally things started to make sense. I started to be able to realize where all the historical philosophies came from. And of course, as long as I can remember, I've never taken any religion at face value. I've always been of the mindset, where did it come from? I've always asked the question, what does that mean? Where did it come from? What is the best way to learn and to understand what that, whatever that is, what it is? Where did it come from?
Mad, aren't
And, you know, Debbie says, I've never asked someone their religious path. She says, I'm not that curious. If you talk to people and you listen to people, most of the time you don't even have to ask them. As the conversation grows deeper, their religious path will show itself.
That is, if you don't look at their outward appearance and you can see a cross, or a pinnacle, or the goddess and the god symbols, anything like that. If you don't get a visual stimulus, it takes an in-depth conversation with the person to be able to see it.
Sometimes it does, yeah, absolutely. But
that's where perception comes in. If you're perceptive, you can tell by the way they talk, by the way they act.
right,
By the verbiage that they use.
yep,
Exactly. You
Yep.
don't have to see the outward. You can look in their eyes and tell.
and sometimes when you're talking to people, if you, a lot of people are probably going to think this is a bit of a stupid statement, but if you listen to people, people don't listen anymore.
No, no.
People are too busy trying to be right to listen. I mean,
I had to tell a student, hey, shut up and listen to me for a minute. I am listening. No, you're not. So, understand, hard.
yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. They they may be hearing you, but they're not listening. Debbie says, I avoid people. I am an extreme introvert. Well, yes and no, my dear.
Boy, how many did I confuse?
Huh?
I said, how many did I confuse?
Right. But the thing of it is, and you know, I have always, when I'm having a philosophical conversation with someone, I tend to want to know why. And
Yeah, that's your favorite question. Why? Why? Why?
Like a 5-year-old.
uh-huh. Yep. Yep. But you'll notice anybody that's actually ever sit down to a philosophical conversation with me, when I say why, I listen because I'm interested. When people disagree with me, unless they make it personal, I like it when people disagree because I'm going to learn something.
The question why only means help me understand.
Yes. Yes. You know, if, like back when I was a mechanic, right? The fact that I knew from a very young age how to tear apart an old Ford 9N tractor and put new piston rings in it and replace the coil and what have you, it always interested me to know why the piston rings do what the piston rings do. And as I grew older, and in the time I grew up, there was no internet, there was no cell phones.
Yeah, you was looking, he had a book.
Right, and
All the children.
right, the Shilton's Mechanics Manual. My grandfather had a boatload of them, and he loved to walk by and slap me in the chest with a book and say, "Here, boy, read this." Right. Let me hit you back with that book.
4 inches worth of book.
Yeah, pretty much. But it also comes down to, as I grew up and as I got later in life and started opening my mind to things that were outside of my cubicle, I had to learn and I had to accept the fact that everything that was going on in my little square, my little cubicle of life, was like a grain of sand on a beach. Each of us human beings were just a tiny speck of sand on the entire planet. Human beings are outnumbered by insects. Human beings are outnumbered by a whole lot of things that a lot of humans don't like to admit. But humans have the ability to not only bring destruction, but humans also have the ability to bring forward beauty and understanding, acceptance. Well, some do. But if we step outside of that allowing faith to control what we perceive as fact, and more allow our,
Teach me.
well, if we allow ourselves to be more open-minded in the understanding of what could be fact, I'm a big supporter of word definition, okay? And so much of the time I get in debates with people about the meanings of words that people use when they have no freaking idea of what the word means.
Inconceivable!
What?
You've obviously never seen The Princess Bride. The character of Vicini uses the word inconceivable, which means the impossible, the unthinkable. And he keeps using this word over and over and over during like the first half of the movie. And one of the other characters named Indigo pops up with, I don't think that word means what you think it means.
True. True. But even, man, how many times do we listen to people use the word pagan, not even knowing what the hell the word means? Or even where it came from. And the interesting part of it is, the origination of the word pagan was farm dweller. The Romans used it as a slang, an uneducated person. However, that's not what the word has grown to mean. The definition has actually been changed.
Anything non-Christian.
Yes. But that's the whole point, isn't it? If I allowed my faith to cause me to perceive fact strictly off of my faith, I wouldn't be one to be able to learn.
I hope.
What?
I'm sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. I thought you were going to say something.
No,
I'm pissed, okay? My airport's not coming today.
my daughter flaked out on us again today. Sorry, keep going.
Uh-oh. Ah, well, sorry about that. Yep.
Yeah, well,
But,
that's another subject for another day.
I know that there's things going on over at the house, so that may be the reason why she played.
Okay, real quick. It's raining. Jeremy's truck. When?
Okay.
So go on.
Yeah, I was just looking outside to see if it was raining here yet. We've got large hail, heavy winds, and severe thunderstorms supposed to be blowing through at some point today.
That I would expect.
Yeah, well,
But anyway, please,
Yeah.
we digress.
we
Continue.
we digress. Digression can be fun sometimes.
Not this time.
Oh, not this.
I want to be a
It's just
5-year-old
irritating.
again.
What's that?
I want to be a 5-year-old again.
Have at it.
Anyway, onward.
Why?
Why? Thank you, Paul. I mean, let's go down the rabbit hole of why.
Whee!
Hey, seriously, I mean, when we think about what our perception of fact is that is conducted by our faith, right? How come so many people are afraid to ask why?
Because they don't want to know the truth.
I think it's simpler than that. I mean, if we ask the question, why don't people want to know the truth? Human beings are programmed by DNA to ask why,
Right.
which is the reason we have the things we have today. It was hot, so somebody decided to invent air conditioning. Someone wanted ice in their hot drink, so someone decided to invent ice. Computers, because somebody asked why, and then followed up by how. Hence was the progression of the digital world we live in today. Hence is why I can sit in north central Texas and Lester in Louisiana and Cindy in Beaumont and Spaz wherever the hell Sabs is.
That's not the first time I've been called Spaz, and I live like literally a 10-minute drive from home.
Ah, well, there you go. And then we got Debbie in Scotland. I mean, and the other people that watch our broadcast. This is why we're able to do these things digitally, because somebody asked why.
I think they thought, what if?
Well, what if? What if is an absolute other rabbit hole that we could go through an entire 1 day broadcast, a couple of day broadcast of what if. And
I got a bunch of what ifs.
And you know, at the end of the day, I think quite simply, by the time we got through with all of the what ifs, it's going to bring us back to right. Well, yeah, you know, the how come and the why and all that.
Who's on first base?
No.
What's on
Here's a
second?
question for you, Don.
Okay.
Your topic is, how is faith rooted in fact, right?
Right.
Okay. The question is, how does fact change your faith?
That's the question I was asking a while ago, Paul, that I couldn't get anybody to answer the damn thing.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
The question I was asking a while ago is, how has the growth in your faith changed the way you perceive facts?
Well, I think the question, how have facts changed your faith? Because faith itself, as I stated earlier, is belief in something that is not corporal.
Okay.
Okay? Facts are corporal. Now, if you find out that something you believe is untrue, which means you've learned the facts, how is that going to change your faith? Are you still going to believe what you believe, or are you going to change it to fit the facts?
I can only speak from my own experience, and that as I have become more educated about world religions, my personal faith as a pagan has become stronger.
Agreed.
And I say that because the astral is real to me. And through listening to other people through the years that have spent and do spend a lot of time on the astral, some of their descriptions has real closely matched to the things that I have seen in the astral. Now,
That's a fun realm to go play on.
right. And the same goes when we're talking about different people's pantheon, different people's deity structure, if you will. Each pagan individual has their own philosophy of what their pantheon means to them. And the thing I've noticed through the years, let's take the Alexandrian Wiccan tradition. That's the one I've talked to the most people about and listened to the most people about. Even though most Alexandrians follow the same basic essential tradition, there are variances depending on the coven.
That's true.
And each individual that you talk to within that coven even though that particular coven has a specific ABC, a pantheon that they follow, each individual has a different perception of fact about their particular deity. So when you answer the question of how educating myself in the facts as we know it, and please remember, facts can change in accordance to education, and facts can change in accordance to the things that we know today.
Well, true. I mean, things that we thought were facts 50 years ago have been disproven.
Exactly the point.
I mean, 300-400 years ago, they thought the Earth was the center of the universe.
Sadly, there are still people that think that.
Every day, somebody thinks they're the center of the universe until they get slapped.
And yeah. But I think the whole point to the whole thing is simple. If we allow ourselves the ability to realize I'm not the center of the universe, I'm not the know-all, be-all of pagan ministers. Number one, I don't want that responsibility. Someone accused me one time of having a God complex. And I still, huh?
That doesn't happen.
Uh-huh. Because anybody that knows me knows I don't want a God complex. I like to learn. I think everyone should learn. And I think when it comes down to faith playing a role in fact, I don't actually think it's a bad thing until that thing becomes a detriment to someone's education.
I don't think it was a God complex. I think they called you a Christ complex.
No, it was a God complex. I know the person.
You said you wanted to be a cult leader.
Yeah, and see, I never understood that, because if you want to talk about cults, Christianity is the biggest cult on the planet.
Yeah, and it
Preach it, brother.
starts with the CH.
By definition.
And it starts with a CH.
But if you allow yourself to be educated, and if you flip that term, like what we were talking about earlier, and you flip it to allow the facts to play a role in your faith, then you find that education and learning and understanding, combining of knowledge and wisdom, you find yourself becoming a whole lot more comfortable in your own faith. And also, I think people should I was just reading what Debbie wrote. She said, "You mean I'm not the center of the universe? Well, damn." You know, if you allow yourself the freedom, right, to reach outside of your cubicle, to step outside of your comfort zone, to reach out past the sociological society programming that we have all been made painfully aware of, we find ourselves maybe stepping back going, well, that makes sense. Now I understand why people do what they do. When you think about people through the thousands of years, they are programmed using fear, fear of hell, fear of retribution, fear of getting stoned to death.
That's not possible anymore.
What?
Oh, it is.
Wait, what?
I said that's not possible anymore.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, yes, it is. It happens every day.
I have never heard of somebody smoking so much weed they died.
All right, Sabs. Wrong stones.
I know.
But let's think about it this way, shall we? If we allow ourselves...
You never met Mickey.
Oh, boy. Oh, that's a name I don't ever care to remember. And it damn sure wasn't related to Mickey Mouse, I'm here to tell you.
That woman like killed me.
Ooh, me and you both, brother. Me and you both.
I'll never smoke weed with Willie again.
I would.
That was a joke. Never mind.
Not.
Actually, the name of the song.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Let's think about the people that are coming into the pagan philosophy for the first time. Let's think about society that is changing very slowly in some areas. In some areas, society is changing relatively quick. Just in my lifetime, the changes that I have seen, I never thought for a moment would actually really take place. So if we flip it and we say, okay, let's let the facts as we know it at the time teach us more and play a role in our faith, rather than allowing faith to play a role in fact. Number one, we'll learn more. Number two, I think we'll be happier because of it. And number three, I think the world would just be a better place because people would need to listen. Or whether or not they're going to do that, who the hell knows?
Right.
But I think people should listen before they react. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Not really.
Not really. I'm more focused on eating my shrimp and macaroni and cheese.
Well, you go right ahead and eat your shrimp, sweetheart.
It's all I can eat. I can't eat chicken anymore. I can't eat beef. I can't eat anything but shrimp.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
normally
fine.
pair my shrimp and mac and cheese with a good steak. But I didn't feel like standing there for like 5 minutes and cooking steak.
Yep.
Anyway, that
Yep,
comes up.
yep.
All I'm saying is young people of the world that listen to our videos, if they do,
Wake up and grow up.
wake up and see your faith, what it is, or what you need to have. Because politics and lifestyle or life is without faith is hard.
Absolutely.
Anything is better than no faith at all.
Agreed.
Right.
Well, we should all open our minds, close our mouths, and who knows, we may learn something. Well, you guys, thank you for watching and thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week here on Open Pagan Church. Have a great day.